Hi everyone, this is 7th grade Elevate Lesson 67. We are back working on area today, specifically on the area of triangles. So last week we learned that the formula for area of a rectangle is length times width, or we could frame it as base times height, right? Base at our bottom, and then instead of length, we'll say height. And so in this example, we would have done 5 times 8, which gives us 40. Because we know that a triangle and rectangle are similar, well, I shouldn't say similar, but a triangle is half of a rectangle. The formula then for the area of a triangle becomes base times height, just like a square, but then we want to divide that base and height in half. So the formula is half base times height, or base times height, then divide by 2. We're not going to focus today on this last piece, only because it's not relevant to the partner practice we're going to do today. But let's go ahead and jump into a teacher model. You're going to model 4 questions for kids before launching them into their partner practice time. Letter A takes students through a step-by-step process on how to use this formula of half base times height, or base times height divided by 2. And so we start by writing the formula, and I want you to push students to write the formula for every single question today, because we want to stamp the formula. We want it ingrained in their brains. And so writing the formula down is step 1. Then we want to identify the base and the height of the triangle. So the base is 5. The height is 6. Then we want to substitute the values into the area formula. So we have that height, and then we have the half, then we have our base and our height. Multiplying them all together, we get 15. Now, let's say you use the alternative formula, which was base times height divided by 2. If we did base times height divided by 2, we would have done 6 times 5, giving us 30. Then divide 30 by 2, it still gives us 15. So that might be easier for students than for them to think about fractions. It's the same formula. And so from there, again, you will launch students. You'll have 3 more models to do. Question 1, ask students. Question 1 is different from question A only because question A had only 2 values. Even though there are 3 sides to a triangle, it did not have anything on the third side. And so this is why I want you to model question 1. So you'll ask students, I see 3 values. Which is the base? Which is the height? And so students should be able to identify off the top the base. However, height might be a little bit challenging. Some students might say 8, some students might say 10. 10 is incorrect. Height can never be slanted. So it can never be this, because this is a slanted line. It's also our 10 is also our hypotenuse. It's not our height. And so we would do 6 times 8, which is 48, divided by 2 gives us 24. Question 2 is also different, which is why I want you to model it as well. We have 3 values. Again, it might be easy for students to identify the base. However, we're not sure whether the height is 6 or the height is 8. Again, height can never be slanted, so it's 6. So we would do 15 times 6 divided by 2, which would give us 45. Notice that because we're back to area, we are keeping the units squared. Okay, and then this is the last question that you are going to model for students. This question might be a little bit challenging because students might think that this right here is the entire triangle. So they might be lost. They might be confused. Like, why is there a dotted line here? However, what you want to point out to students is that this is the triangle that we are trying to find the area of. And so if this is my triangle, why is there another one right next to it? Am I finding the yellow triangle and then this triangle? What students should be able to say is, well, our base is 4, but because our what looks like our height is slanted, we know we cannot use the 9. We have to merge our base and our height using a right angle to find that other side length. So we're going to actually be doing 7 times 4, giving us 28, divided by 2 is 14. So then we launch students into partner practice questions 4 through 8, and then launch them into their exit ticket. For their exit ticket today, we want to ensure that they are writing down the formula, they are getting the correct answer, and they're also doing their work. So 3 points per question, total of 2 questions, so 6 points. And there's no sprint today, so a lot of work time.